You're watching the USL on CBS Sports, presented by Best Western. Two teams that play at the highest of elevations, even higher expectations. We are less than a month away from the final day of the USL Championship regular season, and it's New Mexico United sitting in 5th place, only 3 points clear of Colorado Springs in 8th, and Orange County, Oakland, Las Vegas, all still very much alive to try and reach the postseason. And good evening, everyone. Joined by the former USL veteran, Ricky Lopez, Espen, Mike Watts on hand. And here we are, man. We're down to it. You see the standings. They're only 3 points apart. It's a big game tonight.
This game is all about survival and positioning. The Switchbacks and New Mexico are two teams that expect to be playing for trophies at the end of the season, but they also are very vocal that they want to host playoff games. In order to do that, you have to win games like this. Expect this game to be aggressive, expect it to be intense, and expect it to have a little bit of a playoff feel.
Certainly so. Now, if both these teams are to make the playoffs, that path forward is really interesting. For Colorado Springs, let's not forget, they won the championship last year, Ricky. They got into 2nd place with 7 minutes left in the season, so you know this game matters to them.
The remainder of this season is fantastic opportunity for this Switchback side for James Chambers. They need to do a better job at understanding the moments, understanding when to push higher, when to be clinical, but also they're conceding a little bit too much. Only 1 point in their last 2 games, not good enough for the standard of James Chambers.
Now, if James Chambers wants to see the standard rise, he's going to have to do it without this collection of players, all of whom would contend to start on any given night.
Big-time players that will be missing here tonight. Kai Vassell is the player that they bring over to be their focal point. He's not going to be available to go, so Tejada is going to be that number 9, but there also is a little bit of rotation centrally. Where did the chance creation come with no Fontana, with no Zach Zandy? You're looking at Micheletto and Echeverria to dictate tempo.
Conversely, New Mexico finished 1st in the Western Conference last year, and this is a group that hasn't gotten that marquee win just yet.
An opportunity here on the road under Dennis Sanchez, who was very vocal with us in our conversation, saying they're just looking for consistency and consistency within their identity. We've seen glimpses of how good New Mexico can be, but now it's an opportunity to put from minute 1 to minute 90 to grab all 3 points in a real hostile environment. Big opportunity for the visiting side.
And if you look at players key tonight, Greg Hurst has dealt with injury this year. Kip Keller has come in and made an impact.
Greg Hurst is the number 9 that can do a little bit of everything, whether it is dropping down or running in behind. He's a ruthless and clinical finisher. Kip Keller is a player that Dennis Sanchez is extremely familiar with, the ability to win his individual duels, to lead by example. These two players need to be massive, especially here in Colorado Springs.
So 2 sides with mile-high anticipation for this match here tonight. Colorado Springs playing host to this midweek fixture that the entire USL is certainly watching tonight. It's New Mexico United and Colorado Springs Switchbacks. It's coming your way next on CBS Sports Network. This is the USL on CBS Sports, presented by Best Western. Fireworks anticipated. They've already shot some off here at Widener Field in downtown Colorado Springs. The Switchbacks taking on New Mexico United. Mike Watts, Ricky Lopez, Espen. Bunch of changes tonight for James Chambers.
We talked about that front three. Tejada will be that single number 9. He's going to be a little bit more of a slasher, so expect him to run in behind and really test this back line of New Mexico, allowing Johnson and Hanya to be really direct and vertical within their movement. The structure of this side is Echeverria. How good can he be at settling this game down and understanding when to bypass the press and playing into that front three?
Notably, no Vassell, no Zandy among other key pieces out. Meanwhile, New Mexico, Shakes remains in goal. A look at their 11.
It all comes down to that double pivot of that center back. Keller and Maples need to do a really good job at just playing Shakes into this game, connecting that first pass, and doing that. Now you expect Chibane and Rivas to dictate tempo, slow the game down, and allow Zico Bailey just to go and get touches on the ball. He's going to be the key to fill in the gaps underneath Greg Hurst.
And the player they counted on a season ago, Kale in the starting lineup here tonight. And yes, Marco Micheletto is with Colorado Springs after helping New Mexico to the #1 seed in the Western Conference a season ago. Eric Quill, their former coach, called him an immense thorn in their side. Well, he may well be a thorn in New Mexico's side now. Can Colorado Springs pick up a win tonight and move level with New Mexico in the standings? Less than a month remaining in the season. It is the Switchbacks of Colorado Springs hosting New Mexico United. An enormous bout in the Western Conference. Widener Field in downtown Colorado Springs. Pressure applied by Zico Bailey. Hit long, Gloucester beneath it. Comes down to Talon Maples. And over to Rivas. If you're New Mexico, I think it's the idea of consistency, right? It's a team that's dealt with so many injuries, so many new players coming in. 6-7 is described by Dennis Sanchez with not even a hint of irony as he said it.
Also new coach, right? And Dennis Sanchez for New Mexico. So totally new identity of how he wants to attack the game on and off the ball. On the ball, he wants his side to be connected. He wants them to be a little bit less transitional, what we saw against Monterey Bay. So expect New Mexico trying to slow the game down and try to take the sting out of Widener Field.
If there's one thing in terms of sting, both these clubs typically play at altitude. So what's typically an advantage for one or the other in most games essentially is a no decision here tonight. Tejada chasing it down, gets out, belongs to New Mexico. What a run Dennis Sanchez put together as a first-time head coach at Las Vegas Lights in 2024. A 31-point turnaround and reaching the Western Conference semifinal. Ultimately decides to make the move over to New Mexico. Touch on that in a moment. This blasted and turned away. He said the opportunity is too good to pass up, ultimately.
A lot of alignment from top to bottom with this New Mexico organization, exactly what he wants from his players, the backing of the manager, the GM, the owner as well. The investment is there for New Mexico, and they're a team that you and I continue to talk about, saying that they want to play deep into postseason. They want to challenge for trophies. They're doing a really good job in 2025 of being right into the mix of the Western Conference.
And reach that Western Conference final, I beg your pardon, against Colorado Springs. So to some extent tonight, some unfinished business on hand. Levante Johnson reaching the end line. Micheletto slicing this across, back post tap in! Hanya, the opening goal, 2:40 into the game! That is a dream start for Colorado Springs. They can pull even with New Mexico tonight. And is there another late season surge for the reigning champion?
Within this front three, that James Chambers has elected to go with, especially Johnson. You get verticality, and most importantly, you gain some real estate high up the field. This is all about the decision-making for Marco Micheletto to peel wide and just get touches on the ball. Good things happen when you whip it into a dangerous area. Not one, but three Switchbacks players crashing towards the top of the 6-yard box, and it is lackluster defending for New Mexico. An easy tap in for Hanya to give the Switchbacks a 1-0 lead early here at home.
They have been tremendous at home of late, and the fans have a reason to celebrate early. Hanya in the 3rd minute, his first goal of the season. Well, that happened quick.
It's about 4 minutes in, about to say, for this New Mexico side, they've been broken down in their shape, especially the 2 center backs hasn't been the best. We've seen Keller, we've seen Maples really overlap, and that is a massive no-no. When you are the 2 center backs, you need to pass players off and have a little bit more communication. You get punished against a really good team in the Switchbacks.
I was talking to our director, Gabe, before the game briefly, and he goes, what do you think tonight? Are there goals? Yes, there are goals. I guarantee it. Certainly not lack of opportunity for either side. And if you're Colorado Springs, I think James Chambers, he really drove home the point. Can we capitalize? This is going to come down to moments, and the last 2 games we feel like moments eluded us. Well, that was a pretty impressive early moment for Colorado Springs.
Taking your chances within the attacking 18-yard box, but also doing a better job defensively. You talk about moments, a lot of times you think about the attacking opportunity. You need to do a really good job at understanding that this New Mexico side does have talent going back the other way, so you cannot allow complacency to creep in. Good step here from Akeem Ward.
Ward outside, Levante Johnson. Back from Brennan Creek, who arrived on a 25-day deal in July and then signed through the remainder of the season. Mahoney. Gliding away, Jabang, who was with Las Vegas last year with Dennis Sanchez. Bad turnover right to Ward. Make it to Johnson here, 9 in black. And the hit from Micheletto will skew into the stands.
Nervy moments for New Mexico. If you do want to be possession-based and trying to play out of the back, you need to be clean. This is a massive mistake from Kip Keller. Just trying to overcomplicate it, but if you are Johnson, this actually needs to end up with a shot on target. Take a little bit too long to find Marco Micheletto, allowing Gloucester to come across and deny the shot on target.
It'll be Micheletto. 6 goals on the season, couple assists. And he hit his man, Mahoney, but it skews off his head now. Well, couldn't have written this up any better if you're James Chambers. 38-year-old second-year manager, was an assistant in Colorado Springs previous, and year 1 ended after an 0-5 start as the USL Championship winner over Rhode Island back in November. And again, Colorado Springs aggressive and on the front foot, and they'll accept a corner for that.
Doing a really good job at just squeezing the game in front of them. The Switchbacks are forcing turnovers, but also their first look is forward once they do recover the ball, whether it is Real, whether it is numbers getting forward. James Chambers needs to be really pleased with what he's seen 8 minutes in.
It is finally sweater weather in Colorado, by the way. 60 degrees at kickoff tonight. Elongated chat. Ahmed Kalia is our referee tonight. Micheletto to flick that on by Echeverria. Have another go at it.
The idea when you try to go near post is just trying to get a flick on it, change the angle, try to catch any defender of New Mexico sleeping at that back post. Expect quality service when Marco Micheletto is over the ball.
Well, commentators cursed, and Harris got in the way. Hanya. Not a bad idea from the 26-year-old native of Japan.
Nine minutes in, it just seems like New Mexico is still in the locker room, unable to match the intensity and unable to be clean with their decision making, but also silly defending from Harris. No need to lunge in. Give credit to Hanya, he makes the most of it, invites a contact, he goes down and gives his side another opportunity to whip this ball into the mixer and cause some chaos right in front of Shakes.
That previous corner from Micheletto from the other side was aimed at number 5. Bet it is again, perhaps here. It's Metusala who's making the most intriguing run. Echeverria is coming toward the post as well. Back in front, flick on, and it will fall off the chest of Maples down to Shakes. So it's Metusala who ended up being targeted. Really, no pun intended, because this really isn't about Chris. Shaky start for New Mexico.
If you are Dennis Sanchez, you're looking at your experienced players, Jabang, Rivas, Kip Keller, Maples, just to slow the game down. We talk about taking the sting out of this environment here at Widener Field. Notice how deep Jabang and Rivas are sitting within their double pivot role, and doing that, they're just trying to bait out the switchbacks at finding areas a little bit higher. The problem is just not clean enough in terms of all aspects of the game for New Mexico.
Not a half bad look here.
Really good ball again for Micheletto.
I think I gave Metusala a little more credit than he deserved. I'm not sure he knew very much about that bouncing through.
Just trying to do anything to shield off Maples and Shakes.
Got to give Shakes a lot of credit. He's jumped into the role over Alex Tambakis, who's one of the great goalkeepers in championship history. We spoke a bit with Dennis Sanchez. He said, look, Alex has to be ready, but I certainly love Shakes' story. He's inexperienced by goalkeeping standards, but guy who's earned the opportunity, and he's run with it since he's taken over. That diagonal will hit. Hanya. Creek. Mahoney.
Just notice out of possession, New Mexico shifts into a 4-4-2 flat in that midfield. So Jabang and Rivas will push a little bit higher, and Zico Bailey will play almost as a second striker next to Greg Hurst.
All stripped free, carried forward by Dayon Harris. ACL back in August last year. It's his 5th start of this season. He got pickpocketed by Akeem Ward.
This battle on the near side of your screen is going to be really fun. Two very vertical, pacey players, very comfortable on the ball as well. It's a nice little battle that we have between Harris and Ward.
So when you talk about the two front that New Mexico morph into when they're out of possession, what's the upside of having those two outlets high in that manner?
Well, you try to force issues, right? You try to really test Matt Mahoney and Metusala, the two center backs who've had the ability to break the lines within their passing ability, right? You play a little bit higher up the field, you gain some real estate high up the field, and you keep the game in front of you. But in doing that, now the two center backs need to be very aware that as they are very high, that leaves space in behind. So finding the balance specifically between Kip Keller and Talon Maples is going to be the top priority for Dennis Sanchez.
Creek pleads his case. Mexico 2 wins in their last 11 games in the league, dating to June 21st. The time they were first in the West, which is where they finished last year. This will be a corner for New Mexico inside a quarter hour. They're starting to find their land legs a little bit. It was a really difficult first, call it 8-10 minutes. There's the traveling support in from New Mexico. Bailey seeds, ball launched across by Harris. Gloucester, Bailey. Header away, Hurst. He's got some pretty wild goals in his history. That one probably would have fit amongst the very best did he put it on frame.
Don't fault him for the attempt. Greg Hurst definitely has that technical ability within his locker. Can score every single type of goal in the book, but once he does approach this ball, his shoulders are facing towards that corner flag, and his bounce is all off. Good interplay here.
So enjoyed listening to his journey from Scotland to the U.S. in 2019 with Chattanooga, and making the move to Omaha, where his career really took off in League One. Brought him into the championship, first in Phoenix, now for the last 3 years, including a dozen goals accumulated last year in New Mexico. That's an over-aggressive push. Suffered by Gloucester. What about Hurst impresses you most as an option for New Mexico?
Especially in the system that Dennis Sanchez wants. You talk about fluidity, you talk about a lot of rotations. Greg Hurst is a very, very different number 9 than we talk about maybe a Kyle Vassell, right? He can come to feet, he can combine, he can beat players 1v1. He can play number 9, he can play 10, or he can also play in the wide parts of the field to go a little bit more isolation. He can do a little bit of everything, and you talk about Dennis Sanchez wanting that fluidity, wanting that confidence, and that rotations, especially on that top line. It's a match made in heaven in terms of the game plan, and then also the type of profile that Greg Hurst is.
All forward from Macaulay, seeking the aforementioned Hurst, handled by Colorado Springs. Hurst this year, 5 goals, sports hernia back in April, derailing his season for a time.
Just notice how aggressive the switchbacks are. All 10 outfield players in their attacking half just trying to squeeze this game and force turnovers. That is when you're looking for real quality if you are New Mexico at trying to change a point of attack. Not clean enough, but just like this, then you can find some real estate.
Well, and Gloucester's getting a little funky over there in the corner, as if, I mean, the guy played at Red Bull growing up and then in Hanover over in Germany. None of this is, I think, a shocker to him. This is a New Mexico team that likes to put the ball on the deck and get after it. They've got a couple different gears, but they are unafraid to try and play through lines and go about it, quote unquote, the right way. You'd have to go back to the Louisville game that they played early in the season. It was one of the only times that they've lost the possession battle. They want the ball and they want to do fun things when they have it.
They want to break through lines. They want to be a technically sound team, and you just look at the profiles that Dennis Sanchez has elected to bring over. Every single player in the field extremely comfortable at finding their pass and playing quick in between lines.
Ball bounces off of Creek. Show off your team pride in style. Official merch from shopusl.com. Check out brand new tees, hoodies, novelty items, and more of your favorite USL team. Shopusl.com by scanning the QR now.
And changing the point of attack is something that Dennis Sanchez mentioned in our conversation, saying if we can draw the switchbacks to one side of the field and quickly go out the other, that is where we can find a lot of success. It's the ability to play through our center back, and that is exactly what we just mentioned here.
There it is. Kale, oh there. That's a wedgie and a foul. You tell me a better phrase for this. Matt Real and Akale just became conjoined by the ball.
I don't know if there is a phrase for it. What I will tell you is that is really good balance from Real.
That's a travel, right? And a handball.
I don't think I've ever seen that. That is impressive.
I'm so confused. That made no sense. Neither did that. Gloucester plowing into Levante Johnson. And good from Jabang to go check on him.
Just a little bit overzealous here. Gloucester, clip of the heels, catches Johnson. It's a clear foul.
I think that's one of those, the aftermath looks a lot worse than the actual action. All right, you're the Switchbacks. You throw the opening punch. Far from a knockout. First 10 minutes, you're on the ball a ton. New Mexico has found their way again.
It's all about decision making for the Switchbacks. Understanding, as we talked about, New Mexico's starting to commit a little bit higher up the field, more numbers, a little bit more aggressive. Now you have to be very aware of playing in between the lines, but also playing a little bit more direct. So the movement ahead of the ball between that front three of Hanya, Tejada, and Johnson needs to be spot on. As Tejada might come a little bit more to feet, they will pull out Keller and Maples. That will allow the other two to be more vertical.
Matt Real.
Just look at the space in between lines. Ton of real estate.
Levante Johnson, the overlap, it's Ward seeking Tejada. A lot of traffic between the two. Sidestep by Jalen Lindsay, who came over from Charlotte over the offseason. Up from Keller. Keller's played a pretty big role for some pretty big clubs in recent years. He came out of St. Louis, the A-10 Defensive Player of the Year. Austin ends up largely in the first team, some experience in MLS Next Pro. Saw him help Dennis Sanchez's side. He was an assistant there, win the Next Pro title. Looking for competitive minutes at this stage in his career. New Mexico made a lot of sense. At Minnesota United wasn't peeking through at this point.
Player that Dennis Sanchez is extremely familiar with the time at Austin. Player that embodies what Dennis Sanchez wants in a center back.
A decent amount of time at FC Cincinnati last year. Obviously, they had a tremendous season.
Just not clean enough for New Mexico, unable to find any real-time solutions at dealing with the pressure put forth by the Switchbacks. You need more out of Zico Bailey. You need more out of Rivas to just give them an option to play in between lines. Just far too predictable through the first 22 minutes in.
I think he knew to throw, but the whistle's there to help. Hanya in the 3rd minute of play, putting Switchbacks out in front tonight. If they win this game, they would hold the head-to-head tiebreaker. It was a 1-1 draw between the teams in the league earlier this year. They met the Jägermeister Cup as well. But being 3 points apart, it would move Colorado Springs into 5th place over New Mexico. And then they play the long-awaited Burke Bowl this coming weekend. Not that James Chambers was hyping that up at all. Basically sidestep the question. We've got business to handle Wednesday, then I'll worry about Hartford. Brendan Burke, the former coach in Colorado Springs, leading Hartford to that Jägermeister Cup final. Be played next weekend. One of the hottest teams in the championship.
Almost recreating the roster that he built here in Colorado Springs. Haji Berry, Michi, and Galena.
Oh, why not?
Great ball.
Hurst slipping ahead. Lindsay, that blocked. Second effort is in. They say no goal. Did it catch Jalen Lindsay's arm, perhaps? There's a lot of confusion from the New Mexico players. spared his blushes for now.
Fantastic bit of play. Notice the spaces that Greg Hurst takes up right here as he peels off. Now he has both defenders at his mercy. Fantastic ball in. Jalen Lindsey, his first touch lets him down, gets caught underneath his feet, so now it becomes a little bit of a 1v1 between him and Herrera, and I'll tell you what, that is harsh. That is extremely harsh from Mohamed Khalia. The argument for the referee saying that it did hit his hand, but how close in terms of the proximity is. It's in a natural body movement from Jalen Lindsey. The Switchbacks get away with one massively here in the 24th minute.
Wow. So, Dennis Sanchez just got a yellow card. Now, well, all right, let's get into this. It is an offense if a player scores in the opponent's goal directly from their hand or arm, even if accidental, including by the goalkeeper, or immediately after the ball has touched their hand or arm, even if accidental. And I guess the argument would be, even though his arm's up against his body, that allows him to control the ball and then he kicks it into the net. And I think that's where the argument is here in relation to the handball rule. But yeah, there's something to unpack there when this thing's done. Because by the time that got to him for the second chance, it was an XG of 2. Dayon Harris deflects off Micheletto, out for a corner. So Dennis Sanchez, if he's gonna get a yellow card, you can assume that he earned it. Still, you can see in the technical area having words, and whatever he said was, I guess, one step too far. That may have gone to the assistant coach based on where the eyes are looking.
And the bench really animated for New Mexico. Do not take kindly to that call. That brings back the goal from Jalen Lindsey, but approaching that goal, the movement of Greg Hurst is exactly what you and I have been able to talk about, the ability to feel where to pick up his space and play playmaker. If you can get that on a more consistent basis, now you can really apply pressure towards the Switchbacks.
Well, and now if you're the referee, whether you feel you've made the right call or not, whether New Mexico thinks you made the right call or not, you still have to find a way to keep control of the match. Corner coming for New Mexico. Terrero wipes it away. It's a decent first touch to keep the attack on here. Oh, clever. Rivas. Didn't really get that much power after all that work. Kept it away from Johnson as well. Bailey.
Just starting to sense that New Mexico is starting to settle into this game, playing at the tempo that they want to. It's a really good ball in.
And this will deflect to Herrera.
Talk about the rotation specifically between that middle three for Dennis Sanchez. Zico, Bailey, Jabang, and Rivas have a really good understanding as one steps high, the other two provide that coverage underneath. This time Zico Bailey drops a little bit deeper, which gives Akali the ability to play off the blind side of Real, and he's done a really good job, Matt Real, at finding the balance of being touch tight, but also staying connected within his back line.
I feel like the goal that was disallowed a couple minutes ago is the kind of thing that's going to land in like an IFAB.
1000%.
Yeah. Like pro referees is going to be looking at that at the end of the year in their wrap up for every ref in the country to look at. It's a really interesting call. Whether you agree with it or not, just the circumstance is hugely interesting.
Very interesting to even know what a handball is nowadays. Just definition continues to change.
Well, and there's the rules relating to the ball deflecting up and accidental and erring on the side of it not being a handball when it's the defender.
Natural body position versus unnatural, intentional versus unintentional. The list goes on and on.
Well, and then you get to, okay, it is accidental, but it is immediately after. Anywho, Bailey.
Good run.
Cutting that back, met by Creek. That won't get entirely out of play. It's Harris offering, got by Herrera, and he's in the right place to siphon off that return back through. Hurst rising up like a salmon out of the stream. Couldn't make contact.
Fantastic recognition from Creek, because Zico Bailey does a good job at just pinning back this back line for the Switchbacks, trying to play it into Akale. And if you are Herrera stepping off of your line, you need to command this ball. Never should this ball bounce right on top of your 6-yard box. Fortunate you're able to capture the rebound, but nervy moments for the goalkeeper of the Switchbacks.
Jabang trying to play it through. Hurst chasing it down. Well, now they blow the whistle, and this is one of those where Hurst is wishing that had come about 12 seconds earlier or whatever, 1.2 seconds earlier, so they didn't just crash into the ground like that.
Starting to come a little bit more alive, Greg Hurst, in terms of the build-out phase. Does a good job at just staying as high as he possibly can and also popping underneath at the right time.
So Hanya attended to. Was able to pop back up without any further attention. Half an hour complete here. Hanya has the goal back in the 3rd minute of play. Hurst has questions. How about we go back to the disallowed goal again here?
Greg Hurst did a good job at catching out this back line for the Switchbacks. And just the first touch of Jalen Lindsay lets him down, so that allows Herrera to step higher. And as it does come off of the hand of Jalen Lindsay, that is what Mohamed Kalia does, point to and pulls this goal back.
And I think if you're Lindsay, you're saying my arm's against my body, where's it supposed to go? The ball
in a natural position
to it. So, but ultimately, as far as immediately following a handball, the ball crossing the line, I do actually think that the laws of the game were applied correctly. It just doesn't make New Mexico feel any better about it. If you're familiar with the Watergate controversy, I don't know how politically inclined you are.
Okay.
The source that was utilized was nicknamed Deep Throat. I guess my point would be, I've got a mole or two at Pro that I'm going to be asking some questions to this week. My own version of WAPO's Deep Throat back in that time in the 70s. Oh, no look. Hurst! Hurst! He and Harris almost hatched a brilliant goal.
Just to flare the fluidity and the rotations on the top line for Dennis Sanchez. Just so technically sound between Zico Bailey, and I notice the feeling here from Greg Hurst. As he feels where the pressure's coming, he takes his touch away from the defender. And all he's trying to do is just wrap his right foot around this ball to give it that bending motion to come down. Gets a little bit too underneath it, and that's why it continues to go up and over the crossbar, but he does not miss by much. And Greg Hurst hits this ball extremely clean, nearly to tie this game.
You know, it's funny, I've spoken to past coaches about Greg Hurst. I go, try and describe him, right? Because he's scoring these audacious goals, and they go, yeah, he's respectful and he's humble, but man, he banters better than anyone I've ever met. You see attempts like that, and you go, yeah, that tracks.
Has the game to back it up as well.
Yeah, that's right.
You can score those types of goals, you can talk all you want.
I'm sure you have a couple of those in your history.
Never.
Oh, well. At least you're tall, Ricky. Use that noggin to good affect. Gloucester.
Great move.
Meg past Johnson. Gloucester peels that ball brilliantly. It's Hurst. That's blocked. And look at the reaction from Methuselah. Still on. Hurst back for Rivas. Feels like a wonder we've only had one goal in this game.
A lot of quality, specifically on the side of New Mexico when trying to build out and create goal-scoring opportunities.
Harris lashing. Somehow Hurst kept his footing. Rivas squares. Keller, that blocked. He unloaded on that, collapses over the top of Echeverria. It's a corner.
This is your left back. Gloucester showing this bit of skill to bypass about 3 Switchbacks players and then also put this ball on a dime. And I just want you to notice the first touch from Greg Hurst. Phenomenal. Again, away from pressure. Methuselah doing just enough to leave his feet at the right time and denying what looked like a clean strike, and you just see the passion coming within. And then again, the fluidity. This is your center back now, Keller, about 19 yards out.
Corner for New Mexico United. Not a bad look from Jabang. Couple goals this year. 14 games on loan with Vegas under Dennis Sanchez last year.
Starting to grow into this game, especially through the run of play, but also set pieces. Great ball in from Akala, and Jabang just beats his individual marker to the spot, trying to snap it over his left shoulder. But it's been all one-way traffic in favor of the visitors over the last 5 to 10 minutes here.
The race to become European football royalty is back. Don't miss Lille hosting Brann tomorrow, 12:45 Eastern Time. It's the UEFA Europa League on CBS Sports Network. Stream every match live on Paramount Plus. Last year, of course, the final, Tottenham and Manchester United. Harry Kane is on neither Lille nor Brann, so they both have a chance to win. Too soon?
Too soon. Notice their front 5 right now for New Mexico, how high they are stepping. So if you are the Switchbacks, there is real estate. If you can bypass that initial line, that is when you need more from Marco Micheletto to find the spaces in between lines on the half turn. And that is when you can really exploit the high line for the visiting side, but it hasn't been quick enough over the last 5 minutes for the Switchbacks to really find those overloads centrally.
Here's Creek. Johnson still chasing this down, scooped up by Shakes. Wednesday night in downtown Colorado Springs, we have a month and a day remaining in the championship's regular season. By the time everyone else in this league plays again, you'll be in the final month. Widener Field hosted the final back in November. A win for the Switchbacks, their first title over Rhode Island FC, then the expansion side on a fairy tale run. New Mexico got ousted in the conference semifinals after finishing first place in the West a season ago, despite a goal difference of only +2. So it wasn't necessarily dominant so much as they always seem to have the right answer at the right time. And they're hoping, as they wobble at 500, a couple good results down the stretch could be exactly what they need. You know, our producer Brady put the stats together. He had to check twice. I almost wanted to check them a third time. All 10 of New Mexico's losses are to playoff teams. So you get to this point in the year and it's like, okay, let's look at the schedule. You go Lexington, who are inching toward the top 4 on the weekend, at Phoenix, Orange County, that have games in hand and right beneath the Switchbacks at the line. Oakland and then Rhode Island, both teams either right at the line in the East for Rhode Island or beneath the line in the case of Oakland. You go, okay, you probably need 2-3 wins over playoff caliber teams to get a home game. This is quite the effort from Hanya. Hanya sliding in behind Maples. And finally, the run is usurped.
So if you're Dennis Sanchez, now the message to your side is you want an opportunity to play in the playoffs, go out and prove it. You have to have the ability to beat teams that you are going to see in the postseason if you want to contend for trophies, and that is the aspirations and the motivation for New Mexico. You talk about the players that they brought over the roster.
Here's Harris. A little shimmy. Herrera able to knock it down.
Need to be a little bit more decisive here from Harris. Takes a little bit too long to get his hips facing the option centrally. If you can face up your individual marker, now you have about 4 players crashing top of the 6-yard box, peeling to that back post. You take your touch towards that end line, just cuts down the angle on yourself. You need to be a little bit more aggressive there from Harris.
But to that earlier point, every team outside of Lexington who've made a tremendous run over the last 2-3 months. Every team you're facing down the stretch is beneath you in the standings. So you go handle what you're supposed to handle, you'll probably finish 3rd, right? Sacramento appears maybe a bridge too far. Maybe they can be caught, but they're certainly on some kind of run, and Tulsa certainly too far. You can go earn multiple home playoff games if you play this right. No one wants to go to the lab in November, I promise.
Especially with how good the support is there at the lab. It's exactly what you and I mentioned in our open, saying both of these teams want to play at home in the playoffs. With how good they are, the support that they get, the fans really making it a hostile environment. But you have to earn that right. Every single team in USL Championship, day 1 of preseason, say their top priority is to play at home in the playoffs. What can you do to separate yourself to make that dream a reality?
It's looking more and more like the playoffs themselves will run through Louisville. 6 points clear, 7 with the tiebreaker over Charleston for the Shield. Just quickly put back in play, and here comes Harris. Leans that back, blasted toward Herrera, and steered aside from Akale. It's great work out of pressure. Tejada held it up, and Micheletto dishes it back.
The first time that we've seen Creek drop a little bit deeper and have a line-breaking pass to relieve some of the pressure. You need to see that more often if you are James Chambers, because if you do, the whole field will start to open up in your favor.
Methuselah. Here's Herrera, who comes off that big save a moment ago. 29 career clean sheets, 3 of them this year. It has been, unfortunately, a revolving door goalkeeping position throughout the year. A handful of loanees have come in and made significant impacts, including a player who just got called in to the Youth World Cup. Adam Beaudry getting the call from Colorado. Got 6 starts in earlier in the year. Part of the turnaround.
Good positioning from Methuselah again. Him and Matt Mahoney done a really good job of keeping everything in front of them and making the game very predictable for their back line.
Johnson, who's got some electric qualities. Johnson dishing back. Intervention and sent out by Harris. It's a loose touch that got away. Brennan Creek, the turn. Micheletto. See a guy in training for an entire season. Maybe you've seen that before, but equally likely that you haven't, what he just tried to pull off.
Just a little bit too casual there for Marco Micheletto. Just trying to flick the ball into an ongoing run of Creek, but just comes off the heels of a very uncharacteristic turnover from Harris. Just tries to rope this ball into Akale. Difficult technique for him to bring it down. Needs to be cleaner from both sides within that last action that we just saw. Good run.
Keem Ward. Inverted Johnson. Overtaken by Harris from behind, and Shakes, knowing that that'd be a corner, boots it out. Shore's merely a throw. Less than 100 ticks before stoppage time.
Just want you to notice the positioning of Johnson, center of your screen. As Akeem Ward continues his run, he pulls out Glosser, and it's a great little cutback ball from Ward. But your first touch, if you are Johnson, needs to advance you into the attacking 18-yard box. Those are the areas of the field that you need to be a little bit cleaner if you are James Chambers and the Colorado Springs Switchbacks.
Ziggy, top 5 mountain goat, top 5 mascot. I did not know we had a lower third for him. Them. If I saw Ziggy coming at me on Pikes Peak, I'm turning around and going home.
They're gonna say, opening your arms, giving him a big hug.
Oh, man.
Just notice how deep the Switchbacks are sitting right now. All 11 players behind the ball. So if you are New Mexico, the tempo needs to be a bit quicker. Movement needs to be a little bit more influential at pulling players out of position to open up gaps for your teammates.
Hurst trying to work off that left side again and combine with Harris. 2 added minutes here at the end of the first half. There's Akeem Ward. Creek. It's good work off Nicoletto.
Yeah, really well done there from Creek, and that is where we've seen the Switchbacks start to find a little bit more success. Creek a little bit deeper. Nicoletto has the freedom to be box to box, and Echeverria is actually the one that's a little bit more higher up the field, playing as that pocket presence underneath Tejada and Johnson. Good positioning and good spacing from the Switchbacks, and that's why you start to see New Mexico start to chase and try to cover a lot of ground. Jabang and Rivas having a difficult time finding who's going to step, who's going to drop, and good recognition here from Marco Nicoletto to change his pace and take the contact. Second look at it, that is clean from Jabang.
This is such a weird place to take a free kick. Far enough out, you can't really expect to beat Shakes. Not far enough to the left or the right that you can really move him horizontally and stay on frame.
This is the area where we see something off the training ground. Try to change the angle, something around the corner. Left it to the back post, looking for a secondary action here.
Well, that was the idea. Ultimately, Keller nods this out. And stoppage time will roll all the way through this upcoming corner. Or will it? Switchbacks didn't move with nearly enough vigor to have the referee keep the teams on the field. And it's halftime.
Dennis Sanchez, you're happy with the performance, a little bit frustrated with the scoreline. As the first half progressed, you start to become on the ball a little bit more, playing it at your tempo. The next step in that progression is being cleaner and more clinical in that final third. For James Chambers, that next 5 minutes coming out of halftime is going to be top priority, trying to get that second goal to put this game to bed.
Yosuke Hanya and the Switchbacks blitzing right off the bat. That happened too. There was a disallowed goal, and there was a simple tap in saw the Switchbacks potentially pull ahead of New Mexico in the standings. Well, look at the Jaeger Cup coming up. Downtown Colorado Springs on this Wednesday night. The USL on CBS Sports is presented by Best Western. Switchbacks 1 and New Mexico nothing at the half. Switchbacks, the reigning tournament champions in USL. The next time we've got our knockout champion trophy lift is the Jägermeister Cup final. You'll see it on the CBS Sports Golazo Network October 4th, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific from Heart Health Park in Sacktown. It's the Republic hosting Hartford. This game's got a little bit of everything. It's a Republic team that went to the 22 Open Cup final, won the 14 USL. If you're Hartford, they haven't won anything, and here they are on the doorstep of their first trophy.
Hartford Athletic, one of, if not the most informed team of all of USL Championship. Brendan Burke has instilled this side with confidence. They're high flying. They want to get at you. They want to score goals for fun. On the other side, Sacramento Republic have gone on the road in this quarterfinals and semifinals. Didn't score a goal, but when you have Joe Mazzola between the sticks, going to penalty marks, it's going to be a fantastic game. Hartford Athletic, watch out for Haji Barry coming in and making noise for the Athletics.
Embarrassment of riches in goalkeeping for Sacramento, too. Mazzola, the cup keeper, has allowed the fewest goals and 5 clean sheets in the tournament. Switchbacks up 1-0. We'll show you how when we come back.
On camera.
The USL on CBS Sports, presented by Best Western. Colorado Springs home to the U.S. Air Force Academy. Every day it's the noon meal formation. The entire cadet wing marching to Mitchell Hall. Meanwhile, here at Widener Field, 1-0 at the half. Mike Watts, Ricky Lopez, Espen. Well, that was pretty wild, huh? What's your takeaway?
It's exactly what we wanted. We wanted this game to be open. We wanted to be aggressive, and we wanted to feel like a playoff game. We looked at both of these teams, and they wanted to get at you. They wanted to play on the right. They wanted to get on the ball. They wanted to dictate tempo. This game is going to come down to that final third in the next 45 minutes, but we had some fantastic bit of play in the first 45.
They march out aware they're just 3 points apart in the Western Conference standings, and just 3 minutes in, they're then a goal apart tonight.
The Switchbacks, they wanted to be aggressive. They wanted to be vertical. Fantastic understanding from Johnson to recycle this ball. Marco Micheletto puts the ball in a really dangerous area, but I love the aggressive nature for the Switchbacks because you have 3 attacking options. Hanya at the back post says thank you very much. 1-0 at home.
His first goal of the season, Micheletto offers his 3rd assist of the campaign. Skip ahead to the 24th minute, and this is where there's controversy.
I think not. When you given the definition, Greg Hurst does a good job, but Jalen Lindsey's first touch lets him down. So as this ball ricochets off of his left arm, able to stick into the back of the net, but once a handball comes directly into a goal-scoring opportunity or scores a goal, it has to go back the other way. It's a good call from Mohamed Kalia, and that goal is disallowed.
Take a look at the halftime stats in front of that spooky skeleton.
For New Mexico, you see a lot of the possession, the shots in their favor. For Dennis Sanchez, it's that next step in that progression. You have the ball, you have opportunities. Now you need to be ruthless. You need to be clinical. You need those chance creations to become a little bit more efficient. And for the Switchbacks, try to make it a little bit more transitional. Bait New Mexico out of position, play direct, and be very killer mentality in the final third.
So Switchbacks ahead 1-0 at halftime. It's becoming a chilly night at altitude. And Ziggy's like, check out these fireworks. Stick around, we've got fireworks too. The USL on CBS Sports, presented by Best Western.
Tonight's travel map is brought to you by Best Western. Brennan Creek has been a little all over in the best of ways.
Done a fantastic job at sitting a little bit deeper and pulling the strings, really dictating tempo. He's had some really good combination with Micheletto Echeverria, but as he drops a little bit deeper, that allows the players high up the field to be expansive and to be vertical, and that's where we've seen the Switchbacks be their best in the attacking phase of play.
Brennan Creek tracked down initially by Alan McCann, who's got such great connections through League Two. Started the year at Asheville City in the U.S. 4th Division and has worked his way from a 25-day deal to a contract that'll see him out through the rest of the campaign. He's from Kalamazoo, Michigan, played at Kentucky. We'll talk about great spatial awareness, composure, and he's done a lot of good things tonight in midfield for Colorado Springs. New Mexico did a lot of things right. Let's call it the final 35 minutes of the first half, but they paid a brutal price for being behind the 8 ball in the opening minutes. And now they'll find out whether they can dig out here on the road. And if they do so, they put major sort of gap between them and the playoff line, them in Colorado Springs. They push toward the top 4. They lose this game, all of a sudden they're probably in for a fight the rest of the way.
A big opportunity for this New Mexico side within this 45 minutes. Need to show a little bit of personality. You started extremely slow in that first half. You cannot have that happen here at Widener Field because this Switchback side will bury you if they get the chance.
On to the second half tonight. Zalalem comes in off the bench, replaces Jabang at halftime.
A little bit more mobility from Zalalem in favor of Jabang. He's going to be more box-to-box, slot right next to Rivas. So those two players have to have the right amount of understanding as one does go and join the attack. The other one needs to stay at home and provide coverage defensively.
Zalalem, just his 5th appearance off the bench this year, has started 13 times. Try and marshal midfield here in the second half. Here's Kip Keller. New Mexico ousted by Las Vegas in the conference semifinal last year. So Dennis Sanchez knocks New Mexico out of the playoffs and then chooses to join the club. And tonight faces off against the team who ended his dream campaign with the Lights, Colorado Springs, who were on their own magical run to their first ever championship final victory. Cards come out for this hullabaloo.
And clever here from Lindsay as Real comes across. Why not kick it into him? Textbook yellow card. Just no need for the outside back for the Switchbacks. Bit silly. Now a big test in terms of his discipline and positioning for the remainder of this match.
5 yellows and a red this year for Matt Real. Actually made his debut in the professional game at 16 years old in Rochester, New York with Bethlehem Steel. Another starter in that game, James Chambers, his current manager. Here's Real. I'm unsurprised because if you sort of know New Mexico's ethos as a club, like them helping people up and checking on them when they're down, like it sort of cracks a little bit. Not to say they don't have grit or any, you know, this isn't a comment on their play style. It's just, it always seems like there's a foul and there they are just, hey, are you okay? It's sort of a kindness to New Mexico.
Watch out.
Keller lost his footing and then sent that wandering across the face in a way that was equally as concerning as the stumble.
It's a first ball in from Zalalem as well. Very light on the weight into Kip Keller. And again, 3 minutes in, shaky within playing out of the back for New Mexico, and that is a handball on Harris. As you bring in Zalalem, he's going to stay right in front of those two center backs, almost being that focal point to play through. He needs to be clean, he needs to be decisive, and he needs to play at a really high tempo, giving New Mexico the ability to change a point of attack.
Coletto take the free kick. James Chambers once told me, yeah, I trained with him about 150 years ago. Italian player who came through Tormenta and then Columbus too, now New Mexico for a year and making the move to Colorado Springs. You hope there's nothing major here, but you never like to see a man's shin guards in his hands, and such the case for Kip Keller, who came in on loan last month and pretty much instantly locked up a starting job. He was grabbing at the back of his leg, and Will Seymour comes in off the bench. New Mexico used one change at halftime. So this is their first of 3 sub windows, their second substitute.
Continue to struggle with health, this New Mexico side, specifically that center back position. Hillen Ryland's a player that has dealt with injury as well. Now Kip Keller, see the frustration on the player's face. You talk about the depth for Dennis Sanchez being tested. Will Seymour gives the side experience. Look for him to create a foundation, a relationship with Helen Maples for the remainder of this match.
Without Valentin Noel tonight, as well as Luther Archimed and Thomas Among. So 3 critical attacking pieces. Ball across, sees Methuselah skew this up and over. This will be a corner.
Methuselah's been the intended target, especially through set pieces, doing a good job at beating Maples to the spot. All I'm doing just enough as well to have the last touch of the ball to give Marco Micheletto another opportunity to cause chaos.
All whip to that near post. This is a foot race. One that Hanya wins but pays a price for.
Hanya has the goal, but a lot of his work rate has been off of the ball. Great recognition here from Macaulay, trying to push the tempo. And really good angle taken by Hanya at the last second. Notice how he slashes across the path of Macaulay. Feels anything, he's going to go down. He's going to force Muhammad Khalid to pull the whistle, and it's a good call by the referee.
A couple years at South Georgia Tormenta, regular in the lineup now the past 2 seasons. Minneapolis native who came up through the Villarreal Academy. Circulated high for Dayon Harris. Zico Bailey. Oh, perfect. Lindsay drags him a little wider than he would have wanted, but he threaded a needle to get it out there. Kale, first touch of the game for Will Seymour. 6th substitute appearance, has started 19 times. Rivas. Only game in the championship tonight, and an enormous game in the Western Conference that is so tightly wound right now. Lindsay. Hurst continues to chase into the back of Methuselah. It's grabbed by Herrera. Only Tulsa has officially punched their ticket to the postseason in the West. In the East, 2 of the 8 slots belong to the 2 teams we can pretty much all but guarantee will finish the top of the East. Well, contact there on Bailey, and it's right inside the penalty area. That's one of those from Akeem Ward where you probably get yourself in more trouble than you need to, and may have escaped any really would have been harsh but adequate punishment.
There's just no need to do any sort of contact here if you are Akeem Ward. Zico Bailey gets on the inside track, the extension of the left arm. There is a little bit of contact right here. Notice as he grabs The left shoulder of Zico Bailey goes down a little bit too easy, but yet you do not even want to open that door and engage in any contact. We've seen New Mexico try to find success at changing the point of attack, so the responsibility from the weak side, outside back for the Switchbacks needs to be connected within that back three, but also able to go out and defend 1v1 in isolation.
Another member of the New Mexico coaching staff just received a yellow card. To be fair, we don't know precisely who got the first one. This one could be Dennis's. If you're smart, you spread it out. Kale for Bailey. Lindsay chugging into the final third. And Herrera kept that in play.
Yeah, you need more quality there from Jalen Lindsay. Does all the hard work at arriving into that final three, and you have 4 options. You need to bypass that initial line of pressure to give your teammates a chance. Just not clean enough for the visiting side in the second half.
That left something to be desired. Bailey kept it. Rivas pirouettes. Akale. Out of play.
Just a little bit too slow from New Mexico. Notice when Zico Bailey puts his ball out to Akale, there's just no movement. All 4 players are just watching Akale, trying to see what he's going to do with the ball. You need to demand respect from the back line. That is, if you are Greg Kerr, slash across the face of that back line, pull players out of position. Dennis Sanchez wants to be connected in possession. Yes, you want to play in between lines, but you also need to be connected without the ball. Open up space for your teammates. It's just too flat-footed in the final third for the home visiting side.
Tough giveaway. Creek played it forward. Here comes Hanya, the goal scorer. Hanya goes down. Penalty. It's on Seymour, and the Switchbacks are headed to the spot.
Fantastic action from Hanya. I want you to notice where his first touch takes him, towards the attacking 18-yard box. Now he has Will Seymour at his mercy. And as an attacking player, if you're going at pace, you can go inside, you can go outside. And it's clear contact, point to 12 yards out. Seymour needs to do a better job at just moving his feet. Once his hips get caught facing one side, he's dead. Has to lunge in, the ball's gone, takes Hanya, and the Switchbacks have an opportunity to double their lead.
0 for 2 in his career, Chris Shakes, against opponents in penalty situations, not inclusive of shootouts. Switchbacks this season are 3 of 3, but Justin Dillon took 2 of them. He is no longer with the club. Tejada has taken 1 and scored, but it is Hanya who steps up, who hasn't tried a penalty since August of 2023. He's got a goal tonight. He can double his money right here. And the Switchbacks could grab a firmer grasp of 5th place in the West. Hanya won it. He'll take it. And Shakes will save it. It got caught beneath him. He was able to hold on as it skittered toward the line. And now New Mexico out the other way. Akale into the pocket. Springing through Dayon Harris. Enormous moments for New Mexico. And it's been moments that have been the Switchbacks' undoing of late. And a foul from Bailey. And a chance to look at Shakes' heroics on the other end.
Not the best of pens here from Hanya. Notice the location, not tucked away in the corner nearly well enough. Fantastic save from Shakes to get the initial touch, but also the recognition that he needs to secure this ball right after. Gonna give a little bit of life to New Mexico here on the road after that great save from Shakes.
And a little bit of love to the traveling support that's behind him now in the goal to our left. Rivas plays back, given away. Tejada, free kick. Juan Tejada wins a free kick in fantastic real estate for the Switchbacks.
Really sloppy again from Zelalem. Trying to play out of the back, plays it right into Tejada. And the Switchbacks have done a really good opportunity at turning their defense into offense. Tejada bypasses the run from Hanya. And now Zelalem's trying to recover from his mistake. There is no need to try to win this ball because Talon Maples is right in front of Tejada.
Zelalem goes into the book, his 8th yellow card in 18 games. Former Arsenal Academy product. He actually played a game in Champions League against Galatasaray. Put that in a measure of perspective. He played 4 games for Arsenal. Eddie and Zelalem. Is there anyone you'd rather see take a free kick tonight than this man, Marco Micheletto, against his former team? Even the New Mexico faithful are at home going, oh no. They know it all too well. That's $1 million leg, not just because he's put a lot of ink on it. And Micheletto has a chance to do it. Hanya could not from the spot just moments ago. The wall is 5 across for New Mexico. And this is about as good a view as you're gonna get. Shakes not the biggest. Tambakis, the normal starter to begin the year, is 6'3". Shakes listed 5'10". So can Micheletto put this into a corner and put New Mexico in the corner as well? Marco Micheletto could not put it on front. What a catch! Are you kidding me? That man just caught a laser beam.
Difficult technique for Micheletto, trying to bend it around the wall. Great hands. Like you said, Mike, that is impressive because that is a lot of movement. That is a lot of pace. Heads up play behind the goal.
And 0 rebound.
0 rebound, no spillage whatsoever.
Holy smokes.
I think if you are James Chambers, you're getting his contacts after the game saying, come to training on Monday.
Yeah. So, New Mexico still doth persist from 1 goal down. Here comes Johnson. There's Gloucester.
Good positioning there from Gloucester in terms of his 1v1 ability, especially when you're playing against an attacking player like Johnson that is just so quick. You need to have a little bit of separation, that when he does take that long touch, that's when you can step in. Good reading in position from Gloucester there.
Another set piece, Micheletto up and away from Talon Maples. Ward, Tejada, crossfield to Brennan Creek.
Gotta go. Need to go quick, out of position, the Switchbacks are.
There it is, the ball through. Winding run. Harris slides it through and in! Dayon Harris pulling New Mexico on level terms! For a counter that fast, it moved in slow motion
New Mexico will enjoy every delectable second of it. It's 1-1 in Colorado.
7 Switchbacks players out of position. This is when you need to realize this transitional moment. Top side of your screen, the run from Harris is fantastic. Playing in between Akeem Ward and Tejada to time it. And notice the angle that Herrera comes off of his line. Has no idea where the goal is. Harris recognizes that, simply just passes it by him. Turning their defense into offense. New Mexico has tied this game 1-1.
The disallowed goal, the saved penalty. New Mexico, they've just hung around. They are in position to hold off Colorado Springs now and maintain their chase for a top 4 spot. Enormous swing. And a swing in this game is a swing everywhere in the Western Conference. Rivas pulling the strings, Hurst. Hurst running that all the way up. Herrera's not going to take kindly to that. And the Switchbacks, time and time again, feel like it's been, again, moments, right? Those brief letdowns that have killed them. Hurst out to Akale. Couldn't quite grasp it. They fell asleep at the wheel for a matter of seconds and paid a terrible price. Free kick won by Harris, the goal scorer.
Talk about managing moments. I just want you to notice the back line of the Switchbacks. Once this ball gets turned over, you have Tejada tracking back, you have Akeem Ward stepping higher, and you have Hanya putting pressure. They're all over the place. As a back line, you need to do everything in unison. If you are going to step, all 3 players behind the ball need to step. If you are going to drop off, you need to drop off together. That little bit of miscommunication and a misstep, you get punished for it against the New Mexico side.
When you've got 3 players from 3 different lines there, you're coming off a set piece, but everyone should be aware, right? Just because it's a striker and an outside back and a midfielder doesn't mean that when Ward steps by his lonesome and no one else does, you're allowing Deon Harris to weave his run through. Even though the ball ends up 5-10 yards off the mark, he still has time to get there.
And just a massive miscommunication, and that is something that you go over in training. When you are in the attacking set piece opportunity, you need to have a +1 defensively. The last thing that you want to have happen from your attacking set piece is picking up the ball out of your own net. You need someone to face Greg Hurst there, someone to drop off, and it's just a massive mistake in terms of the organization and the accountability for the Switchbacks.
Hurst may have gotten stepped on. He's hobbled. Johnson, corner, which has proven as dangerous as it has been beneficial. Hurst able to hobble back in. Won the League One final at Omaha. On defending another corner here. Nicoletto shakes. Seymour, who ceded the penalty minutes after coming into the game. Sees Shakes come to his rescue. And the goal the other way about 7 minutes later. Quick throw, that throw impeded, that should come with a card. It does, it's Gloucester.
Really good recognition from Akeem Morton, understanding that Chris Gloucester is out of position, so we need to take it quick and we need to gain this little bit of an advantage. Echeverria making that run to clear handball, deserving of a yellow card for Gloucester.
That is 5 total yellow cards issued by the referee tonight. 1 to Colorado Springs, 2 to New Mexico players, and 2 to New Mexico coaches. The Trailheads are right. You can't do that. 2 of these cards, by the way, have been for impeding restarts.
Good ball.
Echeverria peers through, bounds off the chest of Maples. Kale trying to get beneath it. Real knocks it over toward Hanya. This time he'll be able to take it at his feet or his hands. There's a little bit of space there, but not a lot. It's a really big field, and there's that concrete edge to the field that runs right around those boards. So when you crash into those boards, it's artificial turf. It's coconut turf, followed by that unfortunate concrete.
No ill will here from Akale, just trying to get out of the way. Unfortunate for Real.
Throw for New Mexico. A win would go a long, long way for them tonight. And they've got Lexington coming up on the weekend at the Lab, which for both teams is a massive 3 points to try and get into the top 4. Both sides traditionally excellent at home this season. See it Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern time, right here on CBS Sports Network.
We'll talk about changing the point of attack. Bottom right of your screen, Akale, acres of space. If you can get him on the half turn, now you can really release some of this pressure put forth by the switchbacks. But you need to recognize that numerical overload a bit quicker if you are New Mexico here.
Rivas ushered through by Akale onto Lindsay. Jalen Lindsay off of Real. Here's Seymour. Kale onto his left. Kale denied. Herrera, elastic save. And now Colorado Springs the other direction. 18 minutes and stoppage time remain in this massive Western Conference tilt. They finished 1-2 in the West last year. New Mexico felt comfortably in first. Switchbacks took until the final 10 minutes of the last day. They're going toe-to-toe now. Big save from Herrera.
Akale, left footer, playing the right-hand side, so he's always going to try to challenge into the interior. A little bit of a hesitation, trying to have eyes for that far post. It's a fantastic save because there's traffic in front of Herrera. And notice how he parries it away from every single person in front of his goal mouth, not allowing a rebound.
That was the last chance to make an impact for Dayon Harris. Substitutions for New Mexico. Tomas Pondeca in off the bench. Harris, the goal in the 64th minute. Penultimate sub window for New Mexico. Kalen Ryden, by the way, available off the bench tonight. Carlos Miguel, Marlon Vargas as well. Mentioned no Among, no Archimed, and no Noel. This is good. Micheletto could have hit the accelerator, tried to take it himself, instead sought Johnson. Creek, clever. Micheletto overtaken. Real. Tejada. Championship final MVP, Juan Tejada. Good spin by Zalalem. Bailey. Back from Hurst. Hurst. It's going to come with a card. It's reckless in the end. Hanya has suffered a number of fouls tonight.
Been on the end of some really difficult challenges Hanya has. As his ball gets away from Greg Hurst, first touch lets him down, just trying to recover. And that is dangerous. He comes in late, his studs are a little bit exposed, and that second leg is coming right after. Good decision from Mohamed Khalib to give Greg Hurst a booking. Third player for Dennis Sanchez and New Mexico in the book.
Zalalem and Gloucester as well. That's it for Tejada and Johnson. Double change for James Chambers. Going to swing the momentum here late. Tyler Clegg, who scored a once-in-a-lifetime banger earlier this season, among the substitutes. And then Jonas Feldberg scored a couple times this year and has scored some pretty big goals over the last couple of years for the club in as well.
Clegg is going to slot higher up the field and be a focal point that the Switchbacks can just play into. Big body, so expect him to occupy Seymour and Maples. If you do play into him, you need movement, whether it is underneath him or in behind him, to really manipulate the two center backs. Feldberg is going to give the Switchbacks a little bit more of an attacking presence, especially the ability to flow and go and search the game, can score goals, can set up assists as well.
There is Feldberg trying to set up Clegg. By the way, out tonight, no Quincy Armand. Robert Endley out, Aiden Rocha, Anthony Fontana, Kyle Vassell, the newcomer up front, who went on a pretty historic run of scoring in San Diego 3 years ago, his last year in the league. And Zach Zandy unavailable for selection tonight. As we highlighted pregame, that's a number of guys that would contend to start in any given game. And yet, James Chambers was talking to us in his office. He goes, I'm looking at the lineup right now. That lineup is capable of winning this game.
There is talent. When you look at New Mexico and the Switchbacks within their roster, no shortage whatsoever of talent. Now it's all about getting that talent to gel together, to create that right relationships and trying to get results to follow. Good opportunity here.
Hurst unexpectedly gave that on to Rivas. Rivas chips it outside. Hondeca just came into the game. From a goal down, can New Mexico find a go-ahead now? Back post, seeking Jalen Lindsay. A throw for New Mexico that took a deflection en route. And that's what you're talking about, right? It's just a little static there. Lindsay has nowhere to go. Now Akale.
Just seems like there's not enough movement off the ball. Right, every single player is just watching the person on the ball, just expecting them to pull something out of a hat, produce a little bit of magic. Especially with the coach that Dennis Sanchez is, he wants fluid movement ahead of it. So as an attacking player, if you're not getting on the ball, how can you continue to influence the opposition, pulling players out of position, opening up space for teammates? Just too many players ball watching right now for New Mexico.
Look at Hurst standing in an offside position there for a moment. The communication right now in that back three, both vocally and with their hands, you can see they're all trying to stay on the same page here through an extended run possession for New Mexico. They drew 1-1 earlier in the regular season. Looking for a win, a vital tiebreaker. Ball across, leaning header. That's Hurst. Smashing it out of play.
When you're talking about being ruthless for Dennis Sanchez and New Mexico, this is a 4v3. If you are Rivas, your top priority here is to engage one of the three defenders. That is when you have to play this ball out wide or either into Greg Hurst. You play it too early, and now notice the numbers for the Switchbacks. Almost all 10 outfield players within their defensive box. That single opportunity is something that Dennis Sanchez is going to go back into film and say this action needs to end up with putting pressure on Herrera.
Clegg. Fjellberg offside. Will not count. Flag had already gone up. Ooh. Well.
False alarm.
This is unfortunate, isn't it? Oh, no.
Outside of your screen, number 7, Fjellberg, about half of a yard. Offside.
Closest player to keeping him on was actually Jalen Lindsay.
Bottom of your screen.
Yeah, the flag went up instantly. Of course, there is no VAR in the championship. But we take a look at the Best Western upcoming schedule as New Mexico makes their final subs. Got New Mexico again at the Lab in Albuquerque against Lexington, 6 p.m. Eastern, right back here on CBS Sports Network. Sacramento, Orange County, set to be a lot of fun at the start of October. And, well, October 5th, Rhode Island, Las Vegas is on ESPN2, 5 p.m. Eastern. Ball skims into the air, Echeverria.
Great ball.
Ward over to Fjellberg. One-handed push from Shakes. One goal could so substantially shake up the standings. And Chris may be holding on to one for New Mexico now.
Great work from Akeem Ward as he draws in about 4 New Mexico players, sets up Fjellberg at that weak side. Great first touch out of his body, and notice the technical ability, but that is some save again from Shakes. His position to stay centrally, to read where this ball is going to end up, full extension to parry it wide.
All across. The look was there. Creek on the backside. Launching service through again. There Shakes. He saved the penalty earlier. That was just an enormous stop. Colorado Springs very easily could have had the 3 points tonight. And New Mexico still hanging around with a chance to win this. Rivas not getting that call. Remarkable for Lindsay to come up, keep that alive. Rivas dicing. Akale leans back, hit toward Fermo! What a hit! Carlos Moguel! Oh, that is a monster goal! On loan from Louisville City, he just scored a genuine banger for New Mexico.
As a sub coming into this game, you need to impact it in a positive manner, and it starts with the intensity from Jalen Lindsay to keep this thing alive. but I want you to notice the technical ability from Mogel here. First touch out of his body, and notice how aggressively he attacks this thing. Keeps his shoulders and his hips square, hits directly through it. And finds this top corner. Herrera does not stand a chance to keep this out of the back of his net. Great response for New Mexico, and take the lead deep here on the road.
That from Mogel is stunning. A couple of years ago, you were talking about this guy being one of the young up-and-coming players at the top club in the championship. For whatever reason, it's fizzled out at Louisville. Couldn't find his way into the lineup consistently. So many veterans on that Lou City squad. I spoke to Danny Cruz. By the way, congrats to him, youngest to 100 wins in the championship. He said, look, we're sending him out to go get minutes so that he comes back next year and competes again to be here. They have certainly not lost faith in Mogel, a fifth-year player at the age of 22, being a part of their future, but he's part of New Mexico's present, and that was some kind of gift to the traveling faithful for New Mexico United. Isaiah Foster comes in off the bench, and Colorado Springs playing from behind for the first time tonight. Matt Real came off. He's on a yellow. Echeverria as well. Cole Maraca and Isaiah Foster came in for the Switchbacks. Lobbed into the area. Seymour up and away. Maraca came for it. Slashed out toward halfway. Pereira had to play that off the bounce. Now he's trying to get back to goal.
He's onside.
Floated out into space. Picked up by Vargas. And it's a letdown in the end. His eyes were a little bigger than his stomach.
It's the right idea, trying to play it first time into Kale, but you had Pondeka making a really good run at the bottom of your screen. If you just had a little bit more composure, if you are Marlon Vargas now, that could have found the third for New Mexico. But buckle up. 4+ remaining here. Two teams that are going at it like for like. Expect a handful of more goal-scoring opportunities. We'll talk about winning this game in both boxes.
Colorado Springs really could have iced this game at 58 minutes with that penalty. A second goal on the road. New Mexico knows they play again on Sunday. It's maybe possible that you could have seen their tail go down, and instead their ears perked up. 2-1 answered in the final half hour tonight. Could be enough for 3 points. Kale, the spin, fouled by Micheletto.
What was the most important key coming into this game for James Chambers is winning moments. Unable to bury this game from the spot. Shakes makes a good save, then you go back and you concede with your back line being all over the place. No one stepping up, no one dropping off, and not winning that transitional moment. And the second goal that you concede comes off the heels of not having the ability to be clean when playing out of the back. Jalen Lindsay picks up your pocket, gives that attacking action a second chance. Those are 3 massive opportunities that you can change the whole complexion of this game if you are the Switchbacks.
Hanya, tug at the back of his jersey from Mogel, able to retain. Creek, ambitious long diagonal, couldn't unzip New Mexico. Header out into space, it's Fjellberg. Fjellberg, he caught up. Fjellberg caught between his legs, it got out. It's a goal kick. He has really caused some problems off that right side, and there's no angle too acute for Jonas Fjellberg.
This is where you need or you miss a profile of a player like a Kyle Vassell, just notice center of your screen, there's no one slashing across that near post. Clegg peels out. Hanya a bit late to recognize the danger. If you had someone pulling across the face of goal, now you give Fieldberg the ability just to slot this ball across and try to equalize this game. He picks up his head, no real options, has to go on himself. An opportunity missed for the Switchbacks.
Moved upfield. That was kept in. Here's Brennan Creek. Familiar sight playing out to that right-hand side. Moraka stares down Rivas, now angles the cross. Hanya. Switchbacks are going to make their final sub. Creek off, Duke Lacroix comes on, the 11th year pro, native of New Jersey, who's featured for the Haitian national team.
Clegg and Seymour going at it. Maybe be really careful if you are both players. No need to engage in anything off the ball.
Not part of the Best Friends Forever Club.
No invite to Thanksgiving dinner for sure.
Nope. Ward. That did the job. Ward chips the cross. Header back. Mahoney will usher. On it now, 6 added minutes. Micheletto, long run, too long a run for Duke Lacroix. New Mexico trying to work their way up the standings tonight. Entered in 5th. Could have been caught by Colorado Springs had their 1-0 lead held. Instead, they'd moved to 3rd. 37 points, and while Sacramento's got a game in hand, they'd be 4 points off 2nd, potentially 2 home playoff games at the Lab. That much closer to trying to clinch a playoff spot, which to this point only Tulsa has done. The West, from 9th place all the way up to 3rd, is 8 points apart, and Orange County would have 2 games in hand. Said all night how important this game was. Here's the sculpture art that they've put up here downtown. This is what it would look like right now. Colorado Springs into 8th, New Mexico in 3rd. Slicing through for Lacroix, that's just out of his reach.
It's the right idea from Moraka, just takes a little bit too long to make his decision. Has a bit of hesitation, which closes down the angle. Takes a good first touch, but right here, you need to play it. That second touch is what kills the angle. And now you have to thread a ball through a really tight window. Hits it a little bit too long, too heavy.
When you look at New Mexico, the reason they're a threat to win the title at the end of the year is what? What seems to separate them? Because this would put them in 3rd, and you're right in that mix in the West.
The ability to win games in different ways for New Mexico. Dennis Sanchez.
Well, here comes Lacroix. quite the tussle for it with Pondeka. That'll be a corner.
Have to deal with this set piece, but Dennis Sanchez is a coach that wants to dictate tempo that we've talked about. They want to slow the game down, but over the last 2 games, they've shown a little bit something different. Against Monterey Bay, it was more transitional, hard-fought draw, and even here, 94 minutes in, they've shown a little bit of the ability to roll up their sleeves and grind out a result.
All the New Mexico fans who used to travel to support Marco Micheletto are the ones making noise behind him in this corner. Another 2 minutes. Oh, there's a lot of pushing and shoving going on now. Shakes among the people who are being pulled out of this. That is Methuselah, most vocal for Colorado Springs. Has words with Mahoney. This might be setting up for some kind of photo finish. There's a yellow card to Methuselah and a yellow card to Shakes. Micheletto. Ward chased by Akale. We could easily see this get to 97 with that stoppage. Herrera plays it forward. Bouncing through. Contact edge of the area, referee says nothing to it, play on. Blasting in, that is a foul. It's against Clegg. We've gone to 6 minutes. I don't think anyone thinks we're quite done yet. Seymour up. Wiped upfield by Zelalem. Right now the goal scorer, Carlos Moguel in the 84th. Through to Shakes. Is that enough? Yes, it is! New Mexico United, an enormous 3 points on the road. A heroic performance from Shakes and a stunning goal from Carlos Moguel. A goal down inside 5 minutes. New Mexico United come from behind and grab a vital 3 points to push into 3rd place with a month remaining in the season.
Massive results for Dennis Sanchez and New Mexico. This game showed grit, it showed personality, and more importantly, it showed a winner's mentality. The ability to win moments, to deal with adversity, and to be ruthless in that final third. That's why they come into Widener Field and take all 3 points away from the Switchbacks.
So the reigning #1 in the West showing their teeth tonight against the reigning champion. An early goal from Colorado Springs and some rising tempers. If we saw this again, I think a lot of people would pay to see it. New Mexico wins it 2-1. Wrap it up next. The USL on CBS Sports, presented by Best Western. Win, lose, or draw, you can always expect something like this when you come out to Widener Field. New Mexico United, 2-1 over the Switchbacks. Colorado Springs stays in 8th. New Mexico in 3rd in the West. Mike Watts, Ricky Lopez, Espen to wrap this up. Ricky, enormous 3 points tonight, and a chance to look at the standings and your final thoughts as we go into the final month now.
Coming into these games, both of these clubs wanted a home playoff game, and right now New Mexico has had that dream become a reality. Can they continue with that momentum? And for the Switchbacks, big 3 points that slip through your fingers. You need a reaction if you are James Chambers, because the standard, yet again, just isn't good enough.
And the traveling support got what they were hoping for tonight. A 2-1 win in Colorado Springs over the reigning champions. Our coverage of the USL on CBS Sports Network continues on Sunday. Lexington will head to Albuquerque to take on New Mexico. Winner of that game will be in the top 4 at weekend's end. For Ricky Lopez, Espen, our entire crew, Mike Watts saying, this has been a presentation of CBS Sports Network, 24-hour home of CBS Sports. Moguel Stunner, New Mexico wins it.